Joining me now is our Chief Foreign Editor, Rob Parsons. Rob, first of all, what are the essentials of what Joe Biden is actually proposing?
Well, there are the two key elements to it. And the first one is the infrastructure project, which is a major project of $1 trillion US dollars and considered absolutely vital to the US, A, because of the damage done to the economy by the coronavirus, but also because of decades of underfunding of key areas like, for instance, roads, bridges and railways, and more recently, the US falling behind on internet provision, not enough broadband. This is intended to finance that across the country and also to start moving on things like electric cars, introducing charging stations all over the country. That's the first element, and relatively simple at this point because there does seem to be an element of bipartisan support, at least in the Senate. The second element is social policy spending, an even bigger injection of cash here, 3.5 trillion US dollars. It's absolutely massive. And that too is in part a response to the pandemic, but also a perception that something needs to be done to address social divisions in the United States. So universal pre-kindergarten care, more spending on community education, funding for counter climate change projects, so there's going to be a lot more spending on the environment, major tax breaks for workers and their families to try and correct the poverty imbalance in the United States, and tax hikes for the rich and for corporations as well. That's the bit that's causing problems at the moment.
So what exactly is it the Democrats can't agree about, and can those sort of divisions actually be overcome?
It's going to be difficult. You know, they should have reached an agreement Thursday, last night, but failed to do so. The essential problem seems to be this, that there are divisions within the Democratic Party itself. As I pointed out just a second ago, there was an agreement in the Senate, bipartisan support for the investment project. The problem is that there are two Democratic senators, who are opposed to the social spending because they say it is fiscal insanity. One of them, Joe Manchin, says he's prepared perhaps to settle for a 1.5 trillion social spending project, but that's not going to be enough for the progressives. As a consequence, if they lose the support of the two Democrats in the Senate, they can't get the bill through because the Senate is so tightly balanced. On the other hand, the progressives in the Democratic Party are saying they were given to understand by Nancy Pelosi that the two elements would go through together. What they're fearful of is that the infrastructure goes through by itself, the social part of it will be forgotten later on. So they're saying it's either the two together or not at all. So that is the dilemma that Nancy Pelosi finds herself at the moment. How can she bring the two wings of the party together on a compromise? And today, Friday in Washington, she'll be doing her best to reach some sort of compromise on that. She's a person who's known for reaching a compromise. She's meant to be highly skilled at it, but this is a really tall order.
And also an indication of how polarised politics has
Absolutely.
become in the US. Thank you, Rob.